Welcome to the Workamper Show, a podcast devoted to helping you discover how to finance your RV travel dreams. I'm Steve Anderson, the president of Workamper News. Each one of our episodes will either introduce you to people who are already living the RV lifestyle or to opportunities to work short-term jobs. You'll also learn how to hit the road the right way and make the most of every opportunity. Now let's turn over today's show to your host, Greg Gerber.
Thank you, Steve. A lot of RVers today travel with dogs. I forgot the exact number, but I remember reading somewhere that more than half of full-timers travel with a dog. Today I'm going to speak with a veterinarian about things people can do to make RVing easier when traveling with their furry family members. Today's show is sponsored by the Small Business RVer School. This course from Workamper is designed specifically for entrepreneurs on the move and helps you build a business you can run anytime from anywhere. The self-directed course helps you be your own boss while reducing stress and saving on taxes. Through a series of online videos and monthly calls, you are taught the steps necessary to build and manage a successful mobile business. Life is too short, so choose what you want to do and when you want to do it by starting a business of your own. For more information, visit www.smallbizrver.com. Dr. Lynne Swanson is a retired veterinarian who founded Safe Harbor Farms, a canine rescue and rehabilitation center in coastal North Carolina. She grew up living with around 20 dogs at a time and has invested 3 decades, more than half of her life, working with large groups of dogs. She calls them the best teachers because once you learn their language, they can tell you everything you need to know about what they're thinking or experiencing. Safe Harbor Farms is a 61-acre facility dedicated to helping dogs and their owners learn ways to control behavior so everyone is happy. There are 2 things that pet owners can do with dogs to make their lives better. The first is to create positive associations with RV travel, and the second is to introduce dogs to new environments, people, and situations in ways that reflect a canine culture instead of a human culture. She compares it to traveling to Montreal, Quebec. If you know a little French and understand the culture, you're going to have an easier time adapting to that community. But if you don't speak the language or understand any of the customs, visiting there will be frustrating. A lot of people own and love their dogs, but Lynn said that many of them don't really know their dogs. For example, when it comes to associations, the experiences are either positive, neutral, or negative, and they all work to raise or lower a dog's energy level. Creating positive associations keeps dogs calmer and more relaxed, while negative associations work to get dogs excited and anxious. Many dogs take their cues from the owner. If the owner is reactive and exciting about something, the dog will be too. For example, if a dog owner yells "squirrel" or says, "Oh my, look at the squirrel," the dogs will respond by being just as excited and interested in the squirrel as the owner. However, if the owner simply observes the squirrel without reacting, the dog learns to observe it without reacting as well. That's just one of the ideas that she's going to share with us today. So without further ado, please welcome Dr. Lynne Swanson, a veterinarian, dog trainer, and founder of Safe Harbor Farms, to the show. Thanks for joining me again, Dr. Lynne. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. It's a topic that we've wanted to talk to you about for a while on things that we can do to help dogs prepare for and adapt to the RV lifestyle. Tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
Oh, I'm a retired veterinarian, and I volunteer with Safe Harbor Farm Canine Rescue and Rehab Center in coastal North Carolina. I'm one of those people who grew up with, on average, about 20, 24 dogs at a time. Spent actually about, 3 decades out of my 6+ decades living with and working with large groups of dogs, and they are the best teachers you can ever imagine.
Once you get to speak their language, you're absolutely right. Where did you get your degree?
Cornell.
Cornell? Okay. And how long were you working as a vet?
Oh, gosh. I was working for a while, but an old horseback riding injury came back. It crept back and it got me and kind of forced me into some early retirement and turned me back to my my core, dog behavior work, working with the dogs again.
Okay. And you work with Safe Harbor Farms? Is that it? Or did you found that?
Safe Harbor Farm was actually founded by myself and a couple of other people who are actually full-time RVers.
Oh,
We saw a need here, and we said, you know what? We can't do anything great and big, but let's start small and see where it takes us.
What?
And right now, we've got a 61-acre facility. We've got a number of RVing Workamper sites. We've had a number of programs that have helped thousands of animals. And it's a very, very neat program, something I'm very proud to be with. And right now, just it's a small little program with an emphasis on dog behavior.
What kinds of things do you do at Safe Harbor Farm?
It kind of depends. It's like, well, when we wake up in the morning, it's like, what kind of weather do we have? Is it really good weather, or how am I feeling this morning? What are we up to doing? It's a very flexible schedule here because the volunteers what they're doing is they're turning our dog park, our shelter's dog park, into something for the community, and they're grooming almost 2 miles of roughed-in dog trails. Also, as you know, for birders and for dog walkers. So that's the project that we're emphasizing nowadays, and that's what the work campers are helping us out with. And so, what we do each day, a lot depends on the weather. We're in North Carolina, and we're at the mercy of the Gulf Stream.
Absolutely. So Safe Harbor Farm is a shelter?
For many years, it had a rescue, rehab, and rehoming program. Then it did a lot of high-volume spay-neuter. And for a number of years, our volunteers were doing a lot of lectures and teaching at other shelters that wanted to know, oh, my gosh, guys, how are you getting your dog so quiet? You know, how come they're so focused on you? How come they get along so well together? I mean, my gosh, what's your magic bullet? And so we actually stopped the adoption program and the spay-neuter, and we concentrated on helping people with the behavior aspect of it. We're all older. We're all retired. We kind of just, nothing's big, commercial, for-profit. We just kind of, every morning get up and say, okay, how can we kind of help some people or work on this little project here to make something that's going to really help our community?
That's a great segue into what I wanted to talk about. What can people do to prepare their dogs for life in an RV?
Well, two things immediately come to mind. First is to create positive associations with their RV. And second is to learn how to introduce their dogs to new people, new animals, and new circumstances in ways that reflect canine culture and canine social cues, not just human culture and human social cues, because human culture can be a lot different than canine culture. It's kind of like, you go to Tokyo, learning a little bit about Japanese culture and the language is going to help you out. You go to Quebec City. If you know French and you understand the culture, you're going to get farther. There'll be fewer bumps in the road. And so many people have dogs and they love dogs, but really very few know them. So part of our project is encouraging people, okay, hey, let's learn a little bit more about the dogs, and you'll see how easy it is to prevent problems or address them if you got them.
You're absolutely right that there's a difference between human and canine culture because, as a general rule, humans don't sniff each other's butt when they grade each other.
No, they don't. And, actually, that's a good example because in human culture, when we meet each other, we stop. We reach out for one another. We look each other in the eyes and we get vocal. Hi, how are you? I'm Lynn. But in canine culture, if two dogs that don't know each other stop across from one another, if they look each other in the eye and if they reach out, chances are you're going to have a dog fight.
Really?
These are dogs posing a challenge. Yeah. So, if I came up to you and said, hey, Greg, and started sniffing your butt, you'd be like, okay, I was wondering, you're a little weird. This is strange. And you'd back off, okay? Different cultures. So when people introduce dogs to new people or other dogs or horses for that matter or new situations face to face, you're actually breaking some very important social rules And this is where dogs can get reactive. This is where dogs, don't act in the way people expect them to, and then they blame the dog. And it's like, no, wait a minute. If we as humans and dog lovers and dog owners learn how to do things more side to side instead of face to face, or non-verbally instead of verbally, we're going to get a lot farther. And you're going to be amazed at all of a sudden how smart your dog is.
You had mentioned creating positive associations. What do you mean by an association?
Well, with dogs, associations fall into two basic categories. They're either positive, neutral, or negative, and they either raise your dog's energy level, keep it the same, or drop it. And knowing this helps you build positive associations that promote a dog's relaxation in various circumstances, as opposed to negative associations that concern your dog or unduly get him energized. And that's important because misbehaviors are often rooted in higher energy. No extra energy, less misbehaviors.
Okay, very good. And owners can play a role in that, right? So they have to start looking at this relationship with their pet through their pet's eyes, right? They want to become, I think dogs do, and they feed off of the aura that their owners create, right? So if their owner creates, shouts squirrel or, something like that to really get the dog reacting, that's not a good deal.
Yeah, dogs will communicate through posture, position, movement, and energy. And that's energy in quality and quantity. And this is really important. They interpret our posture, the positions we take, how we move or don't move, and our personal energy, both in quantity and quality, in the context of their species, not ours. So, yeah, a lot of what we call misbehavior comes not from a lack of dog training, but it comes from a culture clash. And the neat thing is it's not hard to teach our fellow humans a slightly different way to use their posture, a slightly different way to be aware of their position, how to use their movement more, their voice less, and to watch that energy. And you gave a good example. If I see a squirrel crossing the road and I go, oh my gosh, it's a squirrel. Well, of course the dogs are going to be like, yes, Mom, and we know what to do, as opposed to, watch me. Good. Watch me. Now watch that squirrel. That's a good watch. What a good guy.
Oh, there
and
you
my
go.
dog, in the meantime, isn't chasing the squirrel. He's quietly observing the squirrel because he's been taught that's what watch means. And he knows it makes me so proud of him and so happy. And he's willing to do that because he'd rather make me happy than chase after the squirrel. Now, you have a dog with a really high prey drive, it's going to be a little bit harder. But with a lot of dogs where, like what goes through that dog's mind is, do I do this behavior, chase a squirrel, or do I do this behavior, kind of watch the squirrel and have Mom give me a massage behind my ears because she is so pleased with me.
Oh, that's neat. So can I ask about another example that I see frequently in RVs and at RV parks, and that is the yipping dogs. So, and I see a lot of times where the dogs start to yip, 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 or bark, bark, bark whenever somebody walks by or near an RV. And what can the owner do to react in a way that encourages the dog not to bark and yip?
Okay. I hope you don't expect that answer to be 10 words or less. I'm going to mention a book that I wrote through Safe Harbor Farm. It's called Smile and Other Practical Life Lessons Your Dogs Can Teach You While You Are Training Them. And there is an entire chapter called A Bark Is Not a Bark Is Not a Bark. Okay. The barking that you described is called alert barking. And dogs will do that because that's natural dog behavior. They want to alert their pack, their owners, their people, their peeps, that, hey, something has changed. There's something out there. And we actually talk about a number of different ways, depending on the dog, to respond to that behavior. I can tell you right off the bat, what will never work is for you to get frustrated or mad or vocal,
Yeah.
shut up,
Right.
stop, or just walking away, you're going, oh, this dog's driving me crazy. Because frustration and tension, however rational and just, it will always work against you.
Right. The dog doesn't understand shut up. Right?
Well, the dog hears that as tension. Remember, dogs communicate through posture, position, movement, and energy. Voice is energy. So he hears frustration. He hears tension. And being a dog, he will never, sorry folks, he will never say, my owner is frustrated with me. Instead, he'll say, my owner is frustrated with that cat crossing the street, that person walking in front of our rig, that other dog. Okay? He'll always associate that frustration with what he's seeing, and what's going to happen? He's going to bark more.
Okay.
Not less.
Very good.
Okay? So this is where human training helps a lot. And again, we wrote a whole chapter in the book on this because people need to kind of like read between the pages and go, oh, okay, that applies to me. Oh, that's why that didn't work. Oh, that's all I had to do?
Okay.
So it's not one answer fits everything, but the alert barking you're talking about is very common. And if people practice what's in those pages and stuff, they're going to get help in a lot of cases. Now, there are also, because you talk about barking, but you also use the word yip. Okay. You've got some dogs that just have the I love my voice barking. Okay, that's a different kind of barking. These are dogs who will alert at everything because they love the sound of their voice. And a lot of them are these little yippers. Yip, 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 yip. Okay, so with these guys, you got to teach them what we call substitute behaviors. You got to, be able to work with them so that you're going to, they start yipping, and you do something to just get their attention, and you just direct them to something different, and they get a treat, or they get, some other kind of positive reinforcement for not yipping anymore, and instead sitting on this blanket, coming to your side, something else. Okay. Because just say no doesn't work with dogs.
Right.
Sorry, it doesn't.
So can you give us some ways RVers can create positive associations with their RVs as far as the dogs are concerned?
Yeah, well, if you're just starting out and you want to create positive associations with your rig, or for that matter, actually, if you've been on the road and the dog's got mixed emotions about the rig, give him a little treat every time he enters the RV at your direction in a polite and relaxed manner. The more polite and relaxed, the better. Okay, you don't ever want to reward any element of extra energy or rudeness. This way, the dog will see entering the rig as a positive way to show you how smart he is and how polite he can be. And this is a skill that you can expand upon later. And then the same with leaving your rig. It should always be at your direction. So you're the decision maker, he's not. And it should always be in a relatively quiet and relaxed manner worthy of a small treat.
Okay, that makes sense. Hard to do when you've got a black lab who just loves to get outside and play, and he's like pushing and pulling to get out there again.
Yeah, with those dogs, by the way, and a lot of times like a dog will push and then the owner will push back, and then the dog will push and then the owner pushes back, and the dog sees it as a game. This is where you have to teach the concept of space. Another thing that I mentioned, in this book, the concept of space applies in a lot of situations. It can apply at a doorway. It can apply at your countertops when you have that nicely grilled steak sitting on the countertop. It can apply to a little kid who's visiting. Okay, you teach the dog, give me space, and that means back up 3 feet, not 3 inches, a good 3 feet and even 4 feet. Back from whatever it is, which could be that grilled steak, that kid, or the door. And then you reward with a great big smile. You wait till the dog relaxes, that his tail's not wagging anymore, he's not pushing anymore, he's not focused outside, he's focused on you. And then you quietly slip the lead on and you walk with him following you out the door. And then you turn around and you come back in. And then you do it again. And you go outside with him following you, quiet and on the leash. And then you turn around and you do it again. And you might do it 15 times. Okay. Chapter 13 in the book is called Repeat, Repeat, Repeat. Mm-hmm. Why is that an important principle? Because if you just do something, say, 10 times over 2 weeks, there's a lot of time for the dog to forget what the message was. But if you play this is what I want you to do, sweetie game, where we go out, and then we come in, and then we go out again, and then we come in. And this is all with a dog leash, so you're in control. And you need to be very patient, though. This is the hardest part for people sometimes, being patient. But you wait until you get everything you want. You get the behavior you want, he's sitting back from the door. You get the energy level you want. That's calm. It might take a little while. And you get the state of mind that you want, which is relaxed. And the focus you want, which is on you. When you get everything, then you can give him a great big, oh, I love you smile. Not even a word said, just a great big smile. And then you walk outside with him. Okay, and you always end on a positive note. Do that a couple times, and the dog will, see like, oh my gosh, the routine has changed. My owner has taken a routine they didn't like. I'm pushing them out of the way and knocking the door open and going outside, and turned it into a routine where, hey, they're not frustrated. They're not tense. They love me, and I've made some really good decisions.
And I get a treat.
And you get a treat. And you don't always have to do the whole treat thing. I mean, we do the treats when we start out with dogs, but then we quickly transition to giving them well-timed, ear-to-ear, genuine smiles. That's why my book's called Smile and Other Practical Life Lessons Your Dogs Can Teach You While You're Training Them.
Okay.
Because, smiles can't be dropped by arthritic hands. They don't leave crumbs in your pocket. You can use them indirectly. You don't even have to smile directly at a dog for him to get that with you smiling, your blood pressure has dropped. Your endorphin levels have come up. Your shoulders have relaxed. All is well with the world. Dogs will work for smiles really fast.
Okay.
And they're good for us too.
Is there something that an RVer can do to prepare a dog for travel day when the RV is going to be packed up and they're going down the road?
Oh, yeah. In that case, whether it's rigs or whether it's cars or whether you're just asking the dog to stay in a crate for a little while, pull out a very special toy. When my dogs go for a ride, especially my service partner, Dulcie, when it's time for her to hop in the car or hop in the rig, I pull out a cow hoof. Okay, so it's a lightweight, simple treat that she can have only when we're driving down the road. And that's what makes it special. So find something like that for the RV that's pulled out only at that time. I mean, for great big dogs, sometimes a great big, huge knuckle bone, not the knee bone, but the hip bone of the cow. Nice big roasted hip bone, that would do it. And for smaller dogs, again, I mean, I like the cow hooves.
Okay, that's very good. So it only comes out when you're about to travel, so that it becomes part of the dog's routine. They know, this is, I can expect to feel these sensations and things like that now that I'm chewing on this.
Yeah, it gives them a way to remove any stress. That's why it also works really good when you do have to crate a dog for a short amount of time, to give them something that's a good de-stressor. It forms positive associations with the rig in this case too.
Okay, very good. And you had mentioned smiles before. It sounds like dogs are experts at reading body language, where we also get a lot of communication cues from our body language, but it seems like dogs are really tuned to that.
They're the specialists when exactly, without a doubt. Again, dogs communicate through posture, position, movement, and energy. And our posture, position, movement, and definitely energy all switch for the better when we offer a genuine, sincere smile to the world. No, grimaces don't count. We're talking honest smiles.
And talking to the dog in a polite way, does that work too?
Well, now you're showing your human side,
Yeah.
Greg. See?
Okay.
Because we want to talk, don't we?
We
We are a
do.
verbal species, and we like saying good boy and things like that. Honestly, when you start working with your dogs, if you follow some of the recommendations that we've got, like in that book and also in videos that I'll tell you about later, but if you follow some of those recommendations, you will find that you are less verbal. You're more particular about how you use your voice and when you use your voice, which makes your voice more powerful. It's not chatter. It's not background noise to a dog. And then you'll start using the movement of your hand more, or your hips more, your body more, or a shift in posture. And it's very empowering. Learning how to use your own body language is incredibly empowering, and it works so well with the dogs.
I think we all know that rewarding what we want to see is a good way to get something done, but you talk about a second golden rule, and that is to stop rewarding behavior you don't want. How do dog owners go about doing that?
Yep, the two golden rules in dog behavior is number one, reward what you want. Golden rule number two, which is harder for people to follow, is stop rewarding what you don't want. If a dog gets what he wants one time out of 20, that's fine with him. And if you got a husky, one time out of 40 works well for them. They're always going to remember it. So you have to be consistent. What we talk about is the 5 C's: calm, clear, consistent, confident, and canine intuitive. And that consistent part means don't reward what you don't want. So it's not just the behaviors you don't want, because behind every behavior is an energy level and a state of mind. So say you've got a dog that you've told to sit. Okay, so we got 2 dogs. We've told them to sit. One dog is sitting quietly. His tail is still. He's focused on you. Okay, you've got the behavior, the energy level, and the state of mind you want. You've got the trifecta. Now the other dog, he's sitting, but his tail is going wild, and his focus is on the dog behind you. He's not even focusing on you. His body's leading forward. His state of mind is not relaxation. His state of mind is anticipation. Okay, that dog's butt's going to come off the ground real fast. He's not going to stay sit. So you're not really getting the behavior and the state of mind and the energy level you want. And that's a common mistake people make. And that's like, why does my dog always hop up once I tell him to sit? He doesn't stay sit. Because they got an okay or a smile or something from their owner that at somewhere along the line told the dog, that's all you have to do.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fair enough. It sounds like
this stuff makes common sense, but it's the kind of thing that it kind of helps to have somebody point out why certain things are going on and what you could do differently.
It sounds easier to say than to actually do, though. It's still going to take a lot of work for the dog owners. I mean, that's the patience thing, waiting for them to do what you're wanting them to do. I mean, it's like working with a kid, right?
It really, really is. And here is this thing about patience. And I often use the example of teaching a male dog to empty his bladder all at once. And actually, we have a video online all about this one particular thing. But since you talk about patience, the first time you ask a dog to empty his bladder completely so that he doesn't pee on everything when you're going on your walk, it might take 20 minutes. The second time, however, it's going to take 10 minutes. And the third time, it's going to take 1 minute. So you've got 20 and 10 and 1. You've got, 31 minutes invested in stopping a lifetime of an obnoxious behavior, the dog that pees on everything, know. And so that's all it is. And you can even use my secret weapon, which is a good book.
Okay.
Because if ever I get in a situation with a whiny puppy in a crate or a dog who's used to peeing on everything, and it's like, no, dude, not at my place. We don't do that here. And I know I'm going to have to spend some time literally standing next to a dog, waiting out a behavior, a state of mind, or an energy level I don't want to get to a behavior, state of mind, or energy level I do, all I do is I just pull out a paperback and I have given myself time to read the next chapter in a really good book.
Okay.
I mean, contrast that with standing in place, getting frustrated and going, this is no fun for anybody. There's no way I'm going to have enough patience, and I'm really ticked off. Dog, will you get with the program? Well, you don't have to do that. I mean, if you got that secret weapon, I mean, if I'm doing this, my dogs see me like reach for a book. They know the battle is over before it started, and I have won.
Okay. Does that work when the dog really has to go to the bathroom, though, or you go outside?
Well, you got to pick your battles and you pick your timing. Okay. So with a dog who you're like, say you're in an RV and it's the first thing in the morning and your dog really has to go, but his routine is to go outside and pee and then bark at the neighbors and then come in. So it's like, we got to do something different with the scenario. So it's like, okay, get your coat on or get your pants on and then put the leash on. Take him to a place of your choosing with your little book in your pocket. Stand in place until he enters his bladder completely. Turn around and walk back into your rig and make yourself a good cup of coffee and relax. And guess what, dog? That's the new routine, and it doesn't involve barking at your neighbors. Chapter 5 in the book is Dogs Love Routine. And anytime somebody says, my dog always does something, believe me, there's a routine at play. And the thing we have to do is change the routine to a better one.
Okay. I think we've talked before that you said about 95% of dog training involves training the human side of the leash, not the canine side. Are there any resources that dog owners can tap into that kind of helps them to understand that a bit better?
Well, let's see. If they like reading, tell everybody to go to Give, Give, Smiles.us. And it's a .us because, of course, the dentist took the GiveSmiles.com. So it's GiveSmiles.us. They can read the first 2 chapters of that book I mentioned, Smile and Other Practical Life Lessons Your Dogs Can Teach You while you are training them. See the table of contents. If they like it, they can order it directly from Safe Harbor Farm, and all the money raised goes to some really good dog projects because I donate it all to them. It's also at Amazon, but the only thing is when you get it from Amazon, you kind of have to put Smile and Lynne Swanson in the search bar to find it, and then you're basically giving money to Jeff Bezos, who, instead it could come to Safe Harbor Farm. Now, if you're not a reader, we do have, if you're like a YouTuber, we do have some new YouTube videos, and if you go to youtube.com and in their search bar, put in GiveSmiles.us, and Give Smiles is all one word, so you kind of put in the website. It's going to come up with a bunch of choices, and you click on the handsome Doberman. And that's going to take you to a bunch of videos. We've got one on helping dogs with thunderphobia. We've got one on that male dog peeing on everything issue. The most popular one is 12 common mistakes people make with their dogs and how easy it is to fix them. They're like little half-hour, like mini presentations. They all come from veterinary conferences and shelter conferences and boarding and daycare conferences. There's one that we're going to put up probably by the end of the week. It will go up, and it's on reactive dogs, those dogs who react negatively to anything new coming down the road. That's actually going to be an hour-and-a-half presentation, and it came from Texas Unites for Animals, a conference, a lecture that I did for their conference last year. So I would say those two are the GiveSmiles.us YouTube videos, and the book at GiveSmiles.us would be really good sources for people to be able to recognize, oh my gosh, yeah, that's me. Oh yeah, that's my spouse. Oh, that's what I need to do. Okay.
Okay. I would imagine that dogs are just like people in that some are introverted and some are extroverted, and some people like to have adventures and like things to change up all the time. Others like routine a little bit more and would like to stay by themselves. Uh, what can be done to help RV or to help dogs discover or want to go out and discover new things if that's what their owner wants to do?
I think most dogs naturally like to discover things. Those dogs who are a little shut down, perhaps because of some negative associations that they have with certain things, gosh, that's a case-by-case basis. Um, I think with them, it's about creating positive associations. I mean, if I have dogs that just don't naturally want to explore, I'll pull out some more biscuits. Um, I'll play games with them. I'll find what they like, and that will be their reward for checking out some new things. A lot of working dogs, by the way. When you talk about okay, here, it might sound like an extreme example, but cadaver dogs. Dogs that have been trained to use their exquisite sense of smell to find a dead body. It's like, people are very tense and very depressed in these situations, and the dogs sense that. So their reward for doing their job is play. So many of these are retrievers. And if they find, like search and rescue dogs, they're searching in a very tense situation, and sometimes, what they find is an alive rescue. But their handlers take them aside, and they get playtime. They pull out their squeaker, they pull out their ball, and that dog just gets to be a dog and chase after a ball for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's needed in that situation to help that dog say, okay, I did a really good job. My owner's really pleased, and life is good.
Okay.
So,
Another situation that I think comes up often, especially in campgrounds, is when children approach dogs. And a lot of that has to do with the parent's responsibility to train the child and not to go up to a strange dog. But is there anything that we can do to help our dogs not get so tense if somebody were to approach them like that?
Okay. Yeah, definitely. And it's very vital and very, very important. Okay. So remember the difference between how humans introduce themselves to each other. That is, they stop across from one another, they're face to face, they reach into each other's personal space, and they're verbal. And canine culture and social cues. Okay. They're quicker to align side by side and stay moving, not stand still. They don't reach into each other's personal space with their limbs, only with their calm, curious noses. So if you've got a dog who, and you see kids coming along and you're like, oh gosh, my dog doesn't like kids. Very simple, very, very simple. Just relax. Turn 180 degrees so you're facing the same direction as the child or the parents or the horse or the other dog that came by. Just turn 180 degrees and walk in the same direction and ask whoever has come down to pass you on the side. And just pass you. Say, hey, we're not meeting and greeting today, but tell you what, I'm walking in your direction. Pass me on the right, please. You say that if your dog's on your left. Or if your dog's on your right, you say, would you pass me on the left, please?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Have a good day. You wave to them as they go by, and then you and your dog turn and continue walking the direction you were in.
Okay.
Don't make reactive dogs stand face to face with stuff that's coming your way. It's not fair. And it's so easy to do it the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you turn, you don't stand still. You you start walking, you direct the other person to pass you on your side, and then you turn back.
Mm-hmm. The same thing would be true if, suddenly there is a fire engine or a police car racing by. How you react to that, the dog will pick up on it, right?
Exactly. And if your dog sees you as a good decision maker, he'll be a willing follower. So if you're matter of fact, he'll be matter of fact. If you're calm, he'll be calm. What happens also often is the dog has a long history of being the decision maker in the household, and the person just is the follower. Well, it's a very common situation, and this is why our Smile Project at Safe Harbor Farm made these resources, because we have to get these people back to making decisions so their dogs can be that happy follower, and everybody's going to be happier as a result.
If a pet owner wanted to dive into this in greater detail with some practical hands-on experience, I understand you hire some work campers from time to time. How could people get a job working at Safe Harbor Farm?
Well, the folks that come to Safe Harbor, what they're helping us with is stacking up dead pine trees. We've got a whole bunch of them. We're stacking them up and we're chipping them to put on our trails. They're helping with tree trimming and vine trimming along our trails. They're helping us put up fencing in the dog park. So it falls into the category of nice outside, early morning, socially distanced, natural work. Not work with the animals, because the animals that we have here at Safe Harbor right now are our own personal animals. We don't have others because we don't train the public.
Okay.
Our expertise is training the trainers, training the shelter personnel, training the veterinarians, teaching the teachers. Now, all that said, somebody who comes and they work camp here, and the work campers are usually, it starts out at like 1 month, and in a lot of cases it's 3 months, some is 7 months. You can't help but pick up good dog knowledge while you're here, because we're all dog people and we talk dog, but it's not like, we're a training facility. That's it. And we don't train the public directly. That we let the book do that, because it's more important for the people to realize and recognize what is important for them, what reflects their situation.
This has been fascinating information, Dr. Lynne. I appreciate it. Is there any last-minute advice that you would give to people who are traveling with their dogs?
Okay. Well, 3 things. 1, keep your dog on good flea control and heartworm preventative year-round, because both fleas and heartworm are prevalent coast to coast. Really important. Have your whole year's supply ahead of you, because sometimes it can be really hard to get back to your local veterinarian and order stuff. Second, just as we've been talking about, be open to learning as much as you can about canine culture and canine communication, as you would be about learning the culture and language of different regions that you want to visit. Okay, learn more about how your dog views what you do. And if you do, it's going to help you address issues as they come up and prevent them altogether. And third, and this is important, humans tend to take their dog's calmest and more relaxed side for granted. So my 2 cents, always reward it. Recognize it and reward it with a relaxed and well-timed smile.
Okay.
Dogs love smiles. And when you offer one to your dog, or simply the world at large, your dogs get it and they love it.
Oh, that's excellent. If people wanted more information about Safe Harbor Farm, where could they get it?
Oh, they have their own website. It is safeharborfarm.org. And again, the book website and the YouTube channel is under givesmiles.us.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for this time. It's been fascinating, and I hope that it helps a lot of dog owners better relate to their pets and makes their lives less stressful all around.
Thanks, Greg. And hey, anytime you want to talk about your lab, give me a call. You know where to reach me.
I'd like to thank Dr. Lynne Swanson with Safe Harbor Farms for giving us a lot to think about regarding the ways we can train animals by training ourselves at the same time. The only thing that is common in many RV parks is barking, yipping dogs. Lynne said that's to be expected because dogs instinctively bark when people or other animals enter their space, because they are alerting the rest of the pack that something has changed in the environment. If the owners start yelling at the dog to shut up and react with negative energy themselves, That encourages the dog to bark even more. They feel they're being rewarded for alerting their owners to the situation. Dogs communicate through posture, position, movement, energy, and voices. So is a shouting voice high energy or low energy? When an owner is upset with a dog for barking, the dog will not relate that his owner is frustrated with the dog's behavior. The dog will sense that the owner is also frustrated with that other dog walking through the neighborhood. When you do train a dog not to yip or bark by rewarding them for doing something else, such as sitting on a blanket or coming to your side, rather than standing on the sofa and barking out the window. Learning how dogs communicate and interact, not only within their own family or pack, but with similar creatures, can go a long way toward ending unwanted behaviors. Like Lynne said, dogs want nothing more than to please their owners. I also like Lynne's advice for getting dogs ready for travel day by giving them a special toy or treat that they only get on travel days. That way they associate something pleasurable with being in the crate or moving. Then it becomes part of the dog's routine. It's good advice for owners to remember the 5 C's of training dogs and be calm, clear, consistent, confident, and canine intuitive. Always reward good behavior and stop rewarding bad behavior. Lynne literally wrote the book on dog behavior. You can obtain a copy of Smile and other life lessons your dogs can teach you while you are training them at www.givesmiles.us. You can learn more about Dr. Swanson's training programs at www.safeharborfarm.org. Today's episode is sponsored by The Dreamer's Journey. It's an online course and community produced by Workamper News. Life is way too short to keep your dreams on hold, so don't be held back by fear because you were designed for more. Get started in the RV lifestyle the right way with this comprehensive guide. For just $29.95 for 90 days of access, Dreamers have unlimited viewing of 50-plus videos to learn things like what type of RV to buy, goal setting, how to budget for the adventure, developing a positive mindset, setting up a domicile, operating a small business on the road, plus everything about work camping and how to find the right job for you. Each video is 30 to 90 minutes long, giving an in-depth coverage on each topic. There's no wrong time to get started. For more information, visit www.rvdreamersjourney.com. That's all we have for this week's show. Next week, Workamper News Editor Jody Anderson-Duquette will be back with some practical lessons for employers to recruit great work campers. But if you're a work camper, it will also give you insight into what employers are looking for and how they're looking for people to hire. It is sure to be a great episode, and I'll have it for you next week on The Workamper Show. Thanks for listening.